Please remember to like the video and leave a comment if you're viewing it. This will help us reach 1,000 subscribers. The city of stars, Los Angeles, had transformed into a smoke and ash haze due to wildfires, and it was no longer recognizable. Amidst the chaos, a household name that had come to represent kindness and humility, Manna, was silently driving through the destroyed streets, taking in the devastation. The air was heavy, the sun was a faint orange orb in the sky, and everything smelled of burnt wood and desperation. Even though Keanu Reeves was no stranger to tragedy, he was unable to fully comprehend the enormity of the heartache he saw that day. He had not traveled to these areas for a photo opportunity or media attention, but rather because he had heard of families being uprooted, pets being lost, and neighborhoods being reduced to rubble. As he drove his black electric SUV through what was left of a once thriving neighborhood, something drew Keanu's eye. He wasn't just a star. He was a human first, and sometimes the only way to comprehend the misery of the world was to witness it firsthand. The sound of furious barking filled the air, so he slowed down and looked around. The barking came from a partially burned-out house, but one window on the second floor remained intact, and through it Keanu saw a small dog, its fur matted, its eyes wide with terror, and it was yelling at the glass as if pleading for assistance. Keanu hesitated for a moment. Then he slammed the brakes, thinking that the flames were licking the house's edges and that the building might collapse at any moment. But then he thought, what if it were my dog? And he leaped out of the car and ran toward the house. A few passersby saw him and began yelling, "Hey, that's Keanu Reeves!" One of them exclaimed, pulling out their phone to record. Soon a small crowd began to gather, their phone trained on the actor. As he reached the front door, the heat was intense and the door handle was scorching to the touch. Keanu pulled off his jacket, wrapped it around his hand, and pushed the door open. Smoke billowed out, causing him to cough and his eyes to water. He took a deep breath, pulled his shirt over his nose and mouth, and plunged inside. The dog's barking grew louder as he climbed the creaking staircase. The flames were close now, devouring the walls and ceiling. "Hold on, buddy, I'm coming," Keanu called out, his voice horror from the smoke. Finally, he reached the room. The dog was on the other side of the window, trembling but alive. Keanu threw a chair at the window, shattering the glass. The noise startled the dog, but it didn't take long for it to leap into his arms. "Gotcha," he whispered, cradling the terrified animal. The way back was even more perilous. The flames had spread, and the house groaned ominously under its own weight. Just as he reached the front door, a loud crack echoed through the building. Part of the ceiling collapsed behind him, sending embers and debris flying. Keanu shielded the dog with his body and made a final dash outside, stumbling onto the lawn as the house gave one shudder and collapsed entirely. The crowd erupted into cheers and applause. By now the media had arrived, their cameras clicking furiously, as Keanu sat on the grass, covered and exhausted with the rescued canine still in his arms. A reporter rushed ahead while holding a microphone. "That was amazing, Mr. Reeves. Why did you put your life in danger to save this dog?" When Keanu looked up, his face was smeared, but his eyes were clear. "He needed help, and I was there because that's what you do, right? Help." When the dog gave a little yelp, someone in the audience yelled, "You're a real life Wick." John. Keanu's laughter erupted throughout the room, grabbing everyone's attention. He said, "Let's hope I'm better at keeping pets safe than John Wick," which sparked further laughter. "One of the bravest things I've ever witnessed was a firefighter coming up and taking off his helmet, sir. You're lucky to be alive, though, because that home was about to collapse." Keanu nodded and gave the dog to the man for a brief examination. "I understand, but someone had to do it because he was imprisoned." And more reporter came forward. Keanu was aware that this would make headlines. "Do you have anything you would like to say to your family?"